Henderson from the Ludington Fire Department. Thanks for coming in, sir. Yep. Appreciate you. You guys have, before we even talk about the event tomorrow, let's talk about what this week is all about. It's Fire Prevention Week.
Yeah, it's the National Fire Prevention Week, right? So we take a week in October to really get out there, all of our fire departments throughout the country, really promoting fire prevention. That's everything from smoke detector programs to carbon monoxide programs to what we've done here in Ludington for decades, on 25 plus years at least, where we try to remind people to develop escape plans for their homes.
Absolutely.
It's some of the things, hey, we get smoke detectors, we've got those, but what if you have a fire in the middle of the night? What is everyone going to do? Does everyone know how to get out? And if they get out, where do they go? Right?
Do you think people, do people, and I say this not to question it, but do people, if you had to take a percentage of, let's say, Ludington or just Mason County or the listening area, I don't know, it could be the same percentage, but what do you think the percentage is, and maybe there's some statistics behind this, of people that have a plan that don't have a plan?
I don't know. I would hope after 20 years of the Ludington Fire Department, really pushing it every year with our kindergartens, first, second, third graders, and then the other schools that we go visit along the year, that we'd have at least an old plan that they've talked about, right? Okay. We've got a lot of feedback that our kids came home. We took the time this evening to develop that plan. So, how we're going to get out of our bed, where's our 2 ways out, where do we meet? So hopefully we are still seeing that. But, as anything else, we did that 20 years ago. Do we know what we're doing today? Do we really have that plan? Where is our meeting place? When we get there, if you have a bad day and you have a fire and we believe someone's there, we're going to do what we have to do to try to make that rescue. Yeah. It is much easier. What our job is much easier if we know that everyone's out versus not everyone is out. So we have just a different level of commitment from our the firefighters there and the command staff to make sure we're doing everything we can to search that home as quick as we can to find it. So if we have, and that's the biggest thing. Everyone gets out. Well, I think everyone's out, but I don't know. That common meeting place is very important. So we can get that head count immediately when we get there. Is everyone truly out? Because if we don't know, we're going to commit a lot of effort and put a lot more people at risk trying to do that. So to me, that's always been the important thing. Those first few minutes to get out of that house as it's filling with smoke is the most critical component of our plan.
That's so good to know.
Our smoke detectors give us that notice that, hey, something's going on. But what are we going to do once we know something's going on? We have to be able to get out of those houses. And that may be, did you really think through, what if I can't get downstairs? Do I have another way out the upstairs? Do we have an escape ladder? Do we get out on the roof? Whatever that is, everyone's going to have a unique plan. But that's why just taking a moment to walk that through as a family, figure out what is my plan, and then walk it through a couple times, practice it, and that is, we want you to stay low and go. We don't want you standing up and running through doors. If the door is closed, you got to check that door. Check with the back of your hand. Make sure it's not warm. Don't open the door and make situations worse.
And we learn a lot of that in school, where you use the back of your hand, stay low. Yeah. And I just wonder, do you mind me asking I've always been curious about some of these questions, and you
absolutely.
being here. When you guys roll up on a fire, and how easy is it? And obviously, it's different scenarios all the time. But how easy is it for you to figure out that plan? Is there somebody do you go to a family member that may be already out?
So we're fortunate. We have a great relationship with our local police department, right? Ludington Police Department. A lot of times those guys are already asking those questions even before I get there. So kind of how this works is if a fire call comes in or any call, one of the officers goes directly there to start getting that size up, understand what's going on. Do we have head count? What is the plan? What are we going to have to do? Because each house is different. Yeah. And then we develop it as that. But with our partnership with LPD, a lot of times they'll say, hey, we've already accounted for everybody, so that's one less thing that we have to do. Or if not, they've already kind of got that because they get there a little faster than us. And so all that is valuable moments of time is when we get there. So when the first engine gets there, we can already have a plan. What are we going to do? How do we get upstairs? Are we going to go upstairs? Do we go through a ladder, through a window, or do we have to go through the back? Where would the sleeping areas be? where might be some of the hazards in that house. So we've already done that. And so that plan is always developing from the moment the call comes in until we extinguish the fire and we clear the scene there. So there's always adjustments. Sometimes people say, man, I don't know how you guys do it. It's very chaotic at that first little bit. And it is. But everybody knows what they're doing. I mean, we've been trained. We train. So everybody understands that. But we still have to adjust our plan to each situation with each house, single-story, two-story, multi-family, whatever that might be. We're adjusting and making the corrections we need to make sure that our public is safe before we even start fire suppression activities.
And this week itself, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Chief John Henderson, Ludington Fire Department this morning. Not only National Fire Prevention Week, but also you have an event coming up tomorrow that you want to have these conversations with the public. That's at the firehouse. Take us through what's happening tomorrow night.
So tomorrow night we're hosting an open house at the fire department. It's the first one. Obviously, we're in a new station up on Tinkham, 918 Tinkham. We've had different types of events there, but this is our first official open house where we're bringing the public in. We know COVID caused us some issues along the way, but now we're past that. The guys are excited about hosting our public here. And so tomorrow night, what we're going to do is it starts at 7, goes to 9, and people are welcome to come join us, see the firehouse, see the engines. We're spraying water. We're actually practicing our escape plans. We are with donations from our community, OxyChem, the Ludington Fire Association. We were able to buy a new escape house. So it's a great big inflatable house that people practice. So we talk about fire prevention in it. We talk about kitchen safety. We talk about escape plans. We actually climb out windows and have fun doing that. And then along the way, you can see whatever else you want in the firehouse. You'll see what gear the firefighters wear. You'll see the air packs that we have.
Will they actually get a chance? Will they actually get a chance to try out the gear? Not completely put it on, but we always hear about how heavy that gear goes.
Absolutely, they'll have coats to try on. They'll try the helmets on, stuff like that. We'll have a couple guys dressed up as firemen. They'll be able to see that activity. What does a fireman look like in that gear outside? Because that's one of the things we teach, and we'll talk about what we teach. Like we're going to teach this morning. We taught yesterday, but tomorrow night it's really the public gets to come see our station. We're very proud of our station. See all the stuff we have. You can see that we have prepped and ready if there's an emergency here. We're ready to do that. But you also get to learn a lot of fun things about fire safety. We'll be giving out some smoke detectors and some other things like that.
When it comes to the smoke detectors, obviously the technology has slightly changed there, right? I mean, they're better than they used to be. But how many do you think, and not count-wise, but do you still struggle with homes that haven't changed out their smoke detectors and haven't upgraded those things?
So we see most of our homes have that, right? But where we do see is people pulling those batteries out.
Oh yeah,
that is a no-no. That detector really there is for your protection, right? It's not about anything other than to try to give you early notice that you have smoke in your home or there's something going on. And the same with the carbon monoxide, and get you out into a safe place. So we as a department bring smoke detectors with us. If you don't have them, we put them in. Most of the time you have them, but the batteries are out. We'll replace them with fresh ones. We'll just replace that. And we want you to be safe. We don't want you to have a fire or have a bad day, though the guys are about that. But first and foremost, our public safety is for we do a lot of training, so they'll get that energy out in training. They don't need to go do that in real life. But with that said, though, those smoke detectors have saved many people lives, their property, because they've had early notice, hey, I left something on the stove, I can't believe I did that. That would have created a larger fire, potential lose your belongings and all that. And if you've never experienced a fire, I hope you never do, because losing all your belongings isn't something that you can replace. It seems like it's possible, but it isn't, and then just going through that whole emotional nightmare of a fire, and then God help if you lost somebody in there or you got hurt, we wouldn't want that. So So yesterday and today, we're doing tours at the station. We have the kindergartners coming over. We teach them Mr. Fireman, where they get to see a fireman dressed up. We talk about the importance, if you see one of these gentlemen like this or ladies, that you got to yell and scream, because we don't wear that stuff to come hang out at your house. That means there's something wrong. We also teach them how to do stop, drop, and roll still. We're still doing all that. And then they get to go out and spray the hose, visit the truck, but then they get to practice their escape plan. So we get them for about 45 minutes. We educate them as quick as we can. The message is stop, drop, and roll, and your escape plan. And we've been doing that for decades, and we feel like that's the beginning fundamental starts of a good foundation to fire safety through their life.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. And the little kids, they love it. We enjoy doing it. It gives our firemen a lot of excitement seeing the kids do it. The firefighters are all about it, and it just gives them new energy to do the job. We're volunteers. There's 24 of us on the department now. We show up. They come twice a month. They're doing about 900 calls a year.
Wow.
A lot of them are medical calls, right? It's 500. Some of those are all priority 1 calls. But this is time away from their families. This is time away from their kids. If it's the middle of the night, during the day, or whatever. So we've got a great community that supports us, both from the job employers out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That support the guys leaving to cover that. And then obviously, huge thanks to the families that cough up the time and donate. It's a bummer when you're doing an important thing and you've got to leave to go
I don't think
serve your community.
We don't think about that enough, is that if you get a call in the middle of the day, you got to, your employer supports you enough that says you got to go. You got to go save lives without you having to say, "Hey, I got to check out." Right? How does that
I'm fortunate
work?
to have an employer that allows me to do that, and a lot of our employers support our firemen that way. And it's a big commitment. We can't thank them enough. Our community can't thank them enough for allowing those employees to leave when the call comes in. And so we're very respectful of time. I'm all about, when we get there, if we don't need you, I send you right back, and that's kind of how it works, because we do respect the time that the employers or the family has to give. And so it's important that we do the very best service we can, both for our public and then those who support the fire service.
We're talking, if you're just joining us, we're talking with John Henderson, Chief Henderson, Ludington Fire Department. You've got the event coming up tomorrow night, open house, 7 to 9 p.m.
7 to 9. We encourage people to come, just see what the new fire station looks like. If you've not been there, obviously we have people stop all the time and check it out. But come get some photos, practice doing your stop, drop, and roll or your escape plans. Get our free, talk to us about fire safety. We're there to help educate. This is what Fire Prevention Week is all about, educating our public about what fire safety is. And so all the different kind of things there, we want to make sure we get that message out. So no question's a silly question. The question not asked is the one that we desperately wish somebody had asked.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. We got some fruit flies in here. So
a couple of flies. I saw that when he was coming at me. I was getting a little
plants
worried.
everywhere and everything. So, but we appreciate you being here and appreciate the fire department too. The fire. I mean, I don't think people realize some of those statistics. I didn't realize some of those statistics. 900 calls a year plus. There and 24, 25 members on the.
We have 24 now.
Okay.
So we've actually been, and so a lot of fire departments are suffering from lack of participation, right? We're fortunate I'm very fortunate to have 24 dedicated folks that want to be part of the fire department, serve our community. They work hard. We train all the time. I expect a lot of training because they can't have a bad day. They have to have a great day. When you're having a bad day, they need to be having their best day. That's how it works. It's not like, well, we showed up and we tried. That's not acceptable. You wouldn't want that acceptable. I don't accept it. And they've stepped up and done the challenge. I mean, they are all about being professional, well-trained firefighters. And when they get off that truck, they are ready to go. And so I'm very proud of that, of our guys. I'm proud of them, what they've done. We have really grown that department into a full-fledged department that is ready to go do work every day, every minute. So, but it is because of the sacrifice of families and employers, and then of people who just volunteer their time to want to go do it. You know, they do get a stipend, but it doesn't cover clothes and some other things there for them. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it because they want to serve the community and give back and try to make a difference. And so we do that through firefighting. And then on top of that, all the community events that we do.
Yes.
Right. And so we're going to be on Saturday, we're supporting Connection Point. They're doing their haunted campground or forest.
Scream of the Night. Yep.
Scream of the Night on Saturday from dusk to 10:30. So we started last year supporting them, you know, and we'll be there this year again with our haunted car accident kind of a thing.
It's
so we enjoy
cool.
it. The guys like doing that because we get to see a lot of that, but now we get to stage our own scene there and have some fun doing that with it. So I got about 8 or 9 guys participating in that. But so yesterday and today, we're doing kindergartens. We're going to do our event tomorrow night.
Okay.
Thursday, a couple guys are going over to St. Simon's. We'll do fire prevention over there for that school.
Yeah.
So we're just busy. We're doing fire extinguisher training out with some of our local manufacturers later in the month. So the month of October really fills in for us out there doing tons of events on top of fire calls and med calls and all the rest of the stuff that we ask our folks to do.
Well, we appreciate and when I say that word, we appreciate you and the firefighters. It's the truth that that at any point. And we see that at any point something could happen out there, and you're ready. And
if we could schedule it, it'd be a lot easier, right? And there's no such thing as scheduled fires, scheduled med calls. It's very rewarding for our folks to do that. And the biggest thing is, like I say, the community support. Last night they volunteered. We did a fundraiser with Pizza Hut, and so that was to support our fire smoke detector program.
Yes.
And so we've had other employers step up and private donors give money for that program. So it's important. It's one of the things we do. Like I say, if we show up at a place, they don't have them, we'll ask if they want some, we'll install them, we'll get them going, get it squared away. We want to leave it in a safe place if it's all possible.
John Henderson, Chief Henderson, one last question.
Sure.
It is National Fire Prevention Week. Is there, and you don't have to go too depth into the call, but there has to be those moments across your career that the education done this week or throughout the year, that you've realized it paid off when you get to that scene of that fire. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, absolutely. So when we get out, and I think some of the most rewarding ones are that they're actually at a meeting place, right? So they've carried out that whole plan, which doesn't happen often. I mean, they get the head count there where they're at, and we need to be there, right? But nope, we're all sitting there, we're ready. When we get there, they're out, they're together, and we're out of the house, and they're making it safe. So we see that throughout, And I would tell you, I started my career a while back, right, 30-some years ago, and barely in the middle of fire school, and we lost 9 people here in Ludington, right? Wow. So there were 8 kids and an adult, and smoke detectors may have made a difference there. Yeah. And so that drives me to make sure we're good every day, and that we're not going to have a bad day. We're going to have a great day when you have a bad day.
Yeah, and I'm sure that sticks with you every day.
It drives motivation that you can't. I can't describe the motivation it puts behind us.
I agree. Well, we appreciate you coming in, talking with us. It's a busy week for you.
Busy.
And we want to make sure that the community continues to support the fire department. You can do that by showing up as well to the open house. I think that would be kind of fun, that interaction.
Stop by and say hi and all that stuff there, And the other thing real quick is the city has been great supporters of us. The city council, the city manager continues to buy in and support our efforts here, and so we want to thank them on top of the citizens, that the city really supports us financially and the programs we've added. So we do want to appreciate that, and that makes a difference. And when we think about fire prevention, it's all about that.
Absolutely, and I think the idea that we're in a community that that embraces that. It's important. I think we have to have that, and you have the resources, you have the tools, you have
we have all the right PPE and all the right equipment to make a difference, because we have all the able and willing, and we have to have both. And so we've been fortunate through, like I say, everyone in this community has given some way to make sure the fire department can have the success that we're having today.
Very cool. Coming up this week, we are actually going to highlight a couple of your firefighters
Yes, so I've arranged for them to be here at 7:40 the rest of the week here. So they're all excited about being on the radio,
cool.
right?
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll take it easy on them as much as possible. But in all seriousness, we want to highlight their careers by inviting them into the studio.
Yeah, we're excited to be able to. I want to thank you for all what you do for us. We see you on the scenes. You report it. Our scenes and the situations well. You respect us as we're doing our jobs, but also community, like giving us opportunities like this to come speak and talk about fire prevention and highlighting my guys.
And Barry just gave you look around. He just
there he is. There's one of our.
He's our Culligan driver, and he is a firefighter too. Perfect timing.
He's an assistant chief out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So lots of events. And Ludington is just we're representing the entire fire service. Everyone's doing different ways to get fire prevention. It's the cornerstone of what we do.
It's very cool. Well, we thank you for all that. We're going to push hard over the next 24 hours for the community to show up. I'm going to look at our schedule to see if we can be there. We're going to try to do a broadcast before it.
Nice. Thank
Absolutely. You. And we'll continue to support you and we want the community. So if you see that firefight, I guess if I shouldn't say this. You should probably say this, is that if you see a firefighter out there, what do you think's the best way for us to thank them?
I think just say thanks.
Yeah.
It goes a long ways. It's not that they need that by any means. They get self-satisfaction, but I can tell you it goes a long ways to say thanks for helping us out. Thanks for being there for us.
Right.
Because the amount people don't understand the amount of time and effort it takes to keep their skills up to work. They are, we're doing hundreds of hours of training a year. We collectively pull together to keep our skills up that we hope we never want to use, right? I mean, that's really the goal here, is never to use our skills. But if we have to, we need to be ready. And so it's not just Ludington Fire Department, it's all of the departments here in Mason County, all the departments in our country. Yeah. They all do different things to keep their skills up. And it's all about training and opportunity. If it's simply how to advance the hose line, how to ventilate a house differently, how to do search and rescue. First aid.
Hanging off of a building, the side of a building.
You saw us in the summer. We're doing rope rescue. Next year, we're going to be doing confined space rescue. We did hazmat the year before. So, we're busy because if somebody's having a bad day, honestly, who do they call? It doesn't matter. When in doubt, I always kind of laugh. You'll call dispatch and have this unique problem, and they'll be like, well, it's not a police issue. We'll call the fire department, and they'll figure it out for us, right? And that's how it works. And
including traffic control.
It's traffic control. It's weird smells in your house. There's a noise in my basement. All kinds of stuff. I mean, unique. Some of the calls we get to, and we kind of, we all chuckle with those. But it's experience, and that's what counts. So
that's cool. But, well, again, it's good that we have you guys behind us to save our lives. I mean, that's truly what it comes down to. In our homes and our property and our memories, as you mentioned earlier, is that there are things that you can't replace in a fire, and obviously, the first is family members.
It's the family and that, but the whole concept of. I can't explain when you have a large fire in your house, everything you have has been damaged, touched. You see pictures melted and twisted or gone, right? I mean, you just see the heartache on the families when they walk in there and they're like, oh my. And there's no words that I can say other than you weren't hurt or your family's not hurt. And these can all be replaced. They can, but not the same.
Yeah.
Right. A picture's a picture, right?
Yeah.
But it's not the same picture. My family picture, that was my mom. That was our baby doing this, that, So anyhow, let's do everything we can to prevent fires by
Yep.
having great plans in place. For first, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and then if we have a fire, do we have a great escape plan?
Good information there. Let's continue the conversation with your firefighters as we go throughout the week, and not just in the Ludington area. You mentioned it. It's very important that we recognize that there are firefighters and first responders everywhere out there. So today, more importantly, and each and every day, let's thank those firefighters. Let's make sure that we show them our appreciation. Chief John Henderson, thanks for joining me this morning. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. It's 8:10 now, 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's break for news and weather here on 102.7 WMOM and Hot